All right, so cat dissection procedures. So we'll start out with safety. We want to make sure that we practice good safety when we dissect. So wearing gloves. Gloves will be located, they'll be out and ready. I've got small, medium, and large gloves. Does anybody have a latex allergy that they know of? Okay. And that's just to keep your hands clean. You'll still, I know this is the last bullet point on there, you'll still be responsible for and want to wash your hands when we're done, even though you're wearing gloves. The gloves themselves smell, so you're going to have a smell on your hands regardless. The soap at the school is not really strong. I do have some like dish soap I usually have available to use to wash hands. It's a little better at getting the hands clean. So probably keep that in mind. Make sure you leave plenty of time for washing your hands. But we don't wash our hands until everything from your group is cleaned up. Otherwise, it becomes an issue like, oh, I can't help clean up anymore. I just wash my hands. So gotta make sure everything is cleaned up before you wash your hands. There will be waste materials generated when we dissect, because the first couple times we dissect, we're going to be taking extra fat and what's called fascia off of the cat. They are skinned, but there's still extra tissue that makes it difficult to see the muscles. And just to let you know, it doesn't look like real muscle. It looks more, I don't want to be gross, but more like cooked chicken. But the color is different and the smell is different. So because it's preserved, it doesn't look like uncooked meat. It looks more like cooked meat. So we dispose of those in a special trash can, just so we don't have to take out too many garbage cans and waste too many sacks. We'll just use one can for the trash. All of the trash will go into there and we'll bag it up and get it out of the classroom after class is over. The dissection trays are up there. They're those white trays. They'll probably end up being down on the counters. Once I get my counters kind of cleared off, we put the cats on there. Depending on what we're doing with the cats, some days those trays will get more dirty and wet than other days. And it's important when we clean the cats that we take the solid waste particles off of the tray and put those in the trash cans and not down the drains. So we'll rinse and wash the trays out with soapy water. Continuing with safety, make sure when you're dissecting, and I don't think you'll forget, don't touch your face because your hands will be, don't touch your face or your hair. Speaking of hair, I don't think it's on here, it'll be on our lab rules. You'll want to have your hair tied back, or you'll want to have a ponytail holder with you at all times, Trey. Keep your hair out of your face, tied back before we start so somebody else doesn't have to after you've already started. Yeah, you can just cut that off there. We have to be really safe when cutting. There's been 2 times now that I've had people cut. Usually it's somebody that cuts somebody else, because when we dissect in groups, more than one set of hands are on the cat at a time, and so sometimes people forget there's another finger in there and they accidentally cut somebody else. It's never been too bad, but you want to make sure you're aware of where everybody's fingers are when you're cutting. Landon's going through the tools right now, and some of the scalpels are like brand new, and we want to make sure they're sharp. The sharper they are, the easier and safer it is to cut. If you do get cut, make sure you report it to me immediately, because we want to make sure we wash it really thoroughly so it doesn't get infected. And if we need to put some Neosporin and a bandage on there, I get concerned with the instruments. I'm not too concerned about the cats. They should be clean, but there's a little bit of hair on them still. You never know what's inside the cat's hair. So we want hair. It's without hair, except for no food, drinks, or gum like, I wouldn't even bring it into the room if I were you, and if you do, keep it well away from all of the tables.
Why is there kitchen items?
Obviously, you can't remove anything from the room. You also can't take things off the cat that you're not given permission to. A lot of times people say, ooh, I want to cut such and such off the cat because that's funny. It's inhumane, so don't take anything off the cat that you're not supposed to. And it's the storage of the cats we'll go over is really important. They are in a vacuum sealed bag now. We'll have to take a look at the conditions of those bags, but typically we double bag the cats. We put them in 2 separate bags, and each bag gets rubber banded closed. And then the double bags go in the box, and the box gets bagged, and the box that's bagged gets put in there just to help with the fumes, because they do get stinky, and my kids later in the day will complain no matter how well we put them away. Oftentimes people ask, why are we dissecting cats? You go to other schools, sometimes they don't dissect anything, but the other common animal to dissect is fetal pigs. So, but cats, first, I'm going to start with the second bullet point. First of all, it would be ideal to dissect a human, but one, those are hard to come by, they're expensive, and that's kind of gross. So the next best thing that's close to that has similar muscles to a human is a cat. Part of your dissection involves a worksheet, and on that worksheet it's going to ask you, like, what are some things that are similar to and different than the human. So there are some differences, but there's a lot of similarities in the muscle of the cat, which we call the musculature, to humans. But cats are smaller, so they're easier for a bunch of us to dissect, and cheaper and easier to come by. Now there's some vocabulary you'll need to know. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to your class or not. There will be a quiz over the cats that we'll have. Planning on having it tomorrow. We'll see how far I get through this today. And if it's not at the beginning of class, it'll be at the end of class. It's not very hard. It's mostly logical. But you do have to know these. There's 3 vocab words here. Like I said, you do have access to this on Canvas if you want. But dissect, transect, and reflect are the terms. So dissect doesn't necessarily mean what it seems like it means, like how it's used in regular conversation. In the anatomy world, to dissect a muscle is to expose it. So you're moving everything away from the muscle. You're taking off the tissue that's covering it, and if you have to move other muscles out of the way, that's what you're dissecting. So you're exposing the entire length of the muscle. You're finding the origin, what we call the belly of the muscle, and the insertion. And that is dissection. And to do that, it says we use blunt probes, and Landon can probably tell you when he looked through those kits, we don't have any blunt probes, but I'll show you a blunt probe later. So you can use, I'll show you some techniques using scissors that help you do that. So it also involves separating any connective tissue. So if there's connective tissue you can't take off, you at least separate it. And so if there's like maybe 2 muscles next to each other, or if it's like the biceps and it's got 2 heads, we can separate some things that might be connected with the connective tissue. The next one is transect. And that's when you're cutting the muscle. And you're cutting it, you're making a straight line incision through the middle of the muscle. And you're cutting perpendicular to the direction that the muscle fibers run. So I'll show you, let's see here if I can draw. Okay, let's say we have this muscle here, and the muscle fibers run this direction, and you should be able to see that when you're looking at the cat. So you're going to cut a line in the middle that runs perpendicular to the direction of those fibers. So that would be transect. So let's say I've got the biceps brachii that is over top the brachialis muscle in the arm of the cat. So if I have to dissect the brachialis, that means I have to expose it. That would mean I'd have to transect the biceps muscle so I can get to the brachialis muscle. That would be one reason you would do that, so that you can get to muscles underneath it. The next term is reflect. So after we transected it, we can reflect it, which means we just pull those two halves that we cut out of the way. And you can, when you do that, you can just hold them out of the way to look underneath. You can also use a pin to pin them out of the way. So if I had that muscle transected, I can lift. I don't even know how to draw it. I can reflect the ends out of the way, and I can pin them down so that I can see like some muscle that's underneath it that I couldn't see previously.
Oh.
Now this is a typical dissection tray if you have something smaller. So I have a bunch of these, but they're not quite big enough for the cat. So the cat one is just a plastic board, which is kind of nice though. These other ones have this like rubber mat on them that comes out, and you have to clean that separate, which is more work. But the rubber mat is nice. You can pin stuff on it, like kind of like a pin board. Here are dissection scissors. I'm going to make sure, Landon tried to make sure they're all sharp, but when you get your toolkits, make sure that the scissors you have are nice and sharp. I got some new ones a year or two ago, so we should have access to nice sharp ones. We'll use scissors a lot to cut through the muscles. So if you have sharp ones, that's a good advantage for sharp scissors. We also have scalpels to cut. So as we dissect, you'll figure out quickly whether you prefer to cut with the scalpel or the scissors. And I also have new scalpels and new blades, so you want to make sure your scalpels stay nice and sharp so that you can effectively and efficiently dissect and transect your cat muscles. And then we have, technically we call these forceps. You may know them as tweezers, but you can use those sometimes if you don't want to touch the muscles, but I tend to just like get in and grab with my fingers and use those. So some people prefer the more delicate approach by using the forceps, and it's also good for taking connective tissue off the muscle if you're trying to be delicate. But again, you can use your fingers and scrape that off as well, but these are an option. I should also mention before I finish this, so on the quiz, you'll need to know what these tools are called and what they look like. So this is a dissecting needle. Some of them might be bent. I don't know if Landon was able to find enough straight ones to put in the kits. They don't really do any, for our purposes, I don't think it matters if it's straight or bent. It's pokey, and you can stick things, like you can use it like a thumbtack and stick things. You can use it to make lines down the middle of something to help you dissect and expose the muscle better. That's what those might be needed for. But these are, they're pokey and they're old and rusty, so you need to be really careful.
Make sure your tetanus shot.
Okay. And this is a probe. We don't have any, but it's like a needle, but it's not pointy. The end of it is blunt, but that would be good for going over the edges of the muscle when we dissect it and separating tissue and muscle fibers. So that's a probe. That might be one you could have difficulties with because that's not something you see very much.